hiking is not just for spring and summer in Fort Collins and northern Colorado. Welcome to this 6-part video series in living in Fort Collins, living in winter in northern Colorado. We are going to take you on hiking, snowshoeing, sledding, skiing, ski lessons, and snowmobiling. This is going to be an epic 6-part series that shows you just what you can do in northern Colorado every day of the year. It is December 18th, and I am standing on the top of Horsetooth Rock in Fort Collins, Colorado. It is one of the signature landmarks in northern Colorado, and we had a clear trail coming all the way up. I'm sweating. I overdressed, and I've got a light sweatshirt and pants on, but this is going to be a fun video series that shows just how wonderful northern Colorado can be 365 days a year. Let's go. Bobcat Ridge Natural Area. We are December 14th, and the family and I are out at Bobcat Ridge, and we are hiking in northern Colorado during winter. It is, again, December 14th, and roughly about 45 to 50 degrees. Feels like that 45 to 55 degrees. Sunny, no wind, still a few people in the parking lot. You got little man Boone coming to say something. What are you saying, Boone?
I'm catching up.
You catching up? So we're wearing pretty light sweatshirts, light jackets, and we've got just water bottles. Usually we'd bring the kids with camel packs, but with it being not so hot, we probably don't need as much water. Janae is a great packer, so she got the kids jackets and everything they need just in case, but we are pretty light material. Again, sun is out, no wind, 45 to 55 degrees, December 14th. There is no snow on the ground. We've had very little snow this year. I think we've had like a dusting. So path is clear, no ice, and excited to get on this hike along with others, but we'll go from there. All right, today's gear. We got a light jacket, long sleeve shirt, hiking pants, stocking cap, light gloves, hiking shoes, long johns, and some smart wool socks. It's gonna be about 40 degrees when we are hiking, sunny, not too much wind, and that hopefully will keep us warm. All right, so I'm getting ready to go. I did pack an extra jacket in case it gets cold, which I'm glad I did. A knife. I'm gonna be on the trail by myself. There's not a ton of people out here. Water. It is only about 1 degree colder here than it was in Fort Collins. Took me about 20 minutes to get to the trailhead from my house. So pretty quick and easy. Trail looks super clear, no ice. We haven't had any moisture. Looks like it's gonna be overcast for my entire hike, but I'll get some video footage as we go. So here comes Horsetooth Mountain on a Wednesday afternoon at 12 p.m. Let's go. So we just started the hike. It suggests that it's about 3 to 4 hours long, and I think about 6 miles round trip, but we'll test that. We got our Apple Watch going and should enjoy it. Honestly, I'm gonna sit down on this one because, well, I'm not afraid of heights. I look down, I'm like, dang, it is not low to the ground, but this is video number 1 in this 6-part series, hiking in northern Colorado. I just got done hiking to the top of Horsetooth Rock. Took me 55 minutes. They estimate about 3 to 4 hours, but you can take different trails that have less steep inclines, or you can take the more foot trail, and it was a super easy trail. Again, it's December 18th, 38 degrees, a little bit of overcast, so not super sunny, but clear, very little wind. I mean, I'm at the top of Horsetooth Rock and there's a slight breeze, but overall I passed probably 4 or 5 people on the trail. The parking lot was completely empty. It is a $10 reservation for the day, 24 hours, so I could technically come and hike again tomorrow morning, but beautiful, multiple different trails, easier. The Horsetooth Falls, which my family and I go on all the time. But it's a Wednesday afternoon, and I wanted to do this hike. And again, show what you can do in the middle of December. There are people out golfing. I could have had a 7-part series that said golfing in winter in northern Colorado, but we are going to kind of do specific seasonality type activities. So I'm excited to show you guys the different hikes. We're gonna go on Bobcat Ridge, Horsetooth Rock, and then we're gonna sneak in a 3rd different hike too to show you different trails, skills, resources that you can use to make your hikes and time here in northern Colorado during the winter just as fun as the spring and summertime activities outdoor. Lifestyle is the main thing about living in Fort Collins. So thanks for watching, and let's have some fun. Just got done hiking Horsetooth Rock, and it was just over 5 miles and took me about an hour and a half, 55 minutes up, 45 minutes down or so. So just over an hour and a half. And it was really a pretty calming hike. Weather was great. Honestly, overdressed. I was sweating. There were people climbing it with shorts on. There were trail runners. So I was probably a little bit overdressed. But that being said, I guess I'd rather be, I can always gear down. It's harder to gear up, at least if you don't have it. But that being said, it was a wonderful hike. Things that I wish I would have had are, let's say this, It would have been nice to have some hiking poles. There were some areas of packed down ice on there, so definitely want to check trail conditions beforehand, or at least make sure that you know what the weather was like before, because I actually, looking back on it when I was hiking, I was like, where did this snow come from? But then I thought about it, and yesterday when I took my kids to jiu-jitsu, we were leaving and it was kind of snowing. So up in the higher country, definitely could have easily had more snow. So want to know what the trail conditions are like. That would be big. Hiking poles could be nice. Overdressed, but overall it was a wonderful hike. Hour and a half, middle of the day. I left my house at 11:50 and it's 2:25 and I'm just about to head home. So it took me 20 minutes to get to the trailhead, 20 minutes to get back home. We are on our third and last hike for winter hiking in northern Colorado. Our part one of a 6-part series. I will show you a little bit of scenery along Eagle's Nest, which is just about 30 minutes from Fort Collins, downtown Fort Collins. And at the end, we will go through some questions and answers that really look into what it's like hiking in northern Colorado during the winter. Enjoy the scenery. We are at the halfway point on Eagle's Nest. It is a loop trail. There's 2 portions. There's a 3-mile and then an additional 2-mile loop. So we're gonna do the full 5 miles, but we're at the 2.5-mile mark. And I thought, well, the scenery here is a whole lot better than the parking lot. So I'm gonna go through the questions and answers that we produced that might help you understand what hiking in northern Colorado during the winter might look like. Again, this is the third of 3 hikes. We started out with Bobcat Ridge with the family. We did a down and back to the cabin. It was wonderful, 50-degree day. Then I went on a hike by myself that I've done 50 different times or more, the Horsetooth Mountain. It took me, a couple hours. I was really going up and down, was able to get to the entire top of the mountain relatively easy. There was some snowpack on the trail. And then this is a hike that I have never done. It's just 30 minutes outside of Fort Collins. And the reality is it's a pretty simple hike. I would say Bobcat Ridge was definitely the easiest. This is number 2 as far as difficulty. 800 feet or so elevation gain is all relatively flat. Beautiful scenery. I really have enjoyed the scenery on this, but family friendly for sure. And then Horsetooth Mountain would probably be the most difficult of the 3 hikes that we did. But let's go through the 20 questions. All right, let's go. What is winter hiking like in northern Colorado compared to other seasons? It's obviously colder. I've got layers on. You've got less time to hike throughout the day. I started at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was in the teens, but very comfortable. No wind. I've actually had very good weather on all 3 hikes. And sun goes down 4:30, so you definitely got to have a better timed hike during winter than other seasons, and then wear layers. How cold does it get during winter hikes, and how do temperatures change throughout the day? I would suggest going more midday than you do at the beginning of the day. Summer hikes, you can start early mornings, late evenings, and it's gonna be actually probably better because snakes aren't gonna be out. You have no issues of snakes during winter here. But like I said, it was in the teens when I started here. It's probably gonna get up to the 30s today. Horsetooth Mountain was in its 30s and 40s, and then Bobcat Ridge was in the 50s and 60s, sunny. We were overdressed. I mean, you could wear a t-shirt on that day, but mornings are gonna be much cooler. Midday is going to have a lot more enjoyable temperatures. Is winter hiking safe for beginners, or is it better suited for experienced hikers? I would consider myself a relatively beginner, novice hiker and feel very comfortable. I think just depending on what hikes you're doing, I think that's probably the most important thing. How do snow and ice affect the trails in northern Colorado? There are trail condition applications out there. I didn't use them. I did look at Larimer County, did look at the weather. Everything looked like it was gonna be relatively good, but as you guys saw on Horsetooth Mountain, there was definitely snowpack and ice, and having some crampons probably wouldn't have been a bad idea. What are the benefits of hiking in the winter? Definitely fewer crowds. I've seen 3 people. There's a person coming right by me right now. Different scenery, quiet. I've actually really enjoyed the hikes this winter for sure. What trails stay open and accessible during winter? On Larimer County's website, all the trails were open except for one, and I think that was for a maintenance issue. So there are plenty of trails and they are open year round, but there are some trails in different counties, communities that do close down, so you wanna make sure you check that out before going. Are there specific trails that are better for winter hikes, less icy, more sunlight, etc.? This has probably been the best for cold in the foothills and extremely clear trails. Now we've had an extremely mild winter, so that does suggest that there could be some snow and ice on these trails during a little bit more moderate to severe winters. So want to make sure that you know about that. And there are no permits or passes required. You could have some permits and passes that you pay for an annual basis for parking, but not necessarily that you have to go and do for hiking. But parking, getting into national forests, county lands, state forests, things of that nature, you could get an annual pass and pay for that. What type of clothing should you wear? Like I said, I'm in layers, but all 3 different hikes, I was sweating like crazy on the Horsetooth hike, and on this hike, I think I was dressed appropriately. Now I do have the second half of the hike to do yet, but the reality is feel very comfortable, very confident in what I'm wearing, and I do have layers, so I can dress up or dress down. What kind of footwear is best for hiking in snowy and icy conditions? Definitely want to have some micro spikes if you have them and are available. But otherwise, I would say just nice pair of hiking boots is what you're going to want to have. How do you layer effectively for winter hiking to stay warm but avoid overheating? That's definitely something that you want to take into consideration because, like I said, on the Horsetooth hike, I did end up sweating quite a bit. You don't want to wear any cottons because it absorbs water and you're gonna get cold relatively quickly. After I was done hiking, I did have a t-shirt on that was cotton based and I was shivering. So I've got some poly clothing on right now with layers so that I can take off or put on as needed. What essential gear should you carry in case of emergencies during winter hikes? I am underprepared, that's for sure. I've got a knife, I've got water, I've got layers of clothing, and that is it. I don't have a first aid kit. I don't have any bear spray, not that you have to necessarily worry about too much in bears in Colorado. Mountain lions are probably the scariest thing, and they probably see me before then I see them. So the reality is I don't have much, but I would say my dad, who is an avid hiker, he's got materials and emergency kits in his vehicle. He has got 2 different backpacks depending, so you can absolutely prepare much better than I have on winter hikes. And the final question, what are the biggest dangers of winter hiking and how do you prepare for them? I would say rapidly changing weather conditions is probably the biggest concern. We've had friends who've hiked, and this happens during summer or winter. So the reality is Colorado weather can shift relatively quickly, so that's something that you want to look in the forecast for, but it can change even if the forecasters, the weather apps didn't predict it. So I would say being aware of your surroundings and knowing what your skill level is, your fitness level, and accommodating your hikes and your preparedness to them. At that point, go out, have fun, and enjoy it. So there it is. 3 of 3 hikes in winter. This is January 1st. So although you're watching this after that, what a great way to start the new year in beautiful country, wonderful landscapes, and hopefully this information's helped you. So there is part 1 of 6, winter hiking in northern Colorado. Things that you can do. Now, on to part 2, ski lessons indoor at Infinity Slopes in northern Colorado. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.